It's time for the Movin the Chains podcast. Your home for high school football coverage in the Palmetto State. Every team, every game, every week. And now your hosts, Kevin Thomas and Jarrell Hendricks.
Welcome into Movin the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas here for our Week 9 recap show, brought to you by Folly Row. Another great week of football. Had some rain, had some games moved up to Thursday. I think I saw a Wednesday game. I saw a Saturday game. Saw a game get completed on Monday night due to some weather issues. So a full slate in Week 9. A lot of region titles decided, a lot of playoffs didn't decided, but be a bigger week next week. But a great Week 9 as always. If you guys are just tuning in, we appreciate you for doing so. Check us out on all social media at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS. That's Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, etc. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. We do a weekly recap show. Comes out usually Sundays or Mondays. Drell and I do. It's a podcast, audio-only version there. We do a live preview show Tuesday nights about 7 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube Live. Love to have you guys join us for that and ask about your favorite teams, talk about your favorite games. It's a lot of fun each and every Tuesday. And then we do a Friday Night Spaces, basically a scoreboard wrap-up show on Twitter /X about 10:30, 11, depending on when the games get over and we can get to a good spot and things like that. So a lot of good stuff coming to you guys. Got some interviews coming out this week and next week. Had one coming out with Coach Chad Leapart from Gilbert, I think 2 weeks ago. We got Chad Wilkes, Oceanside, coming out. A couple more lineup as well. That should be some good stuff for you. But Drell is down at South Beach out on vacation this week, so I'm doing it solo. But before we get into the Week 9 matchup that I attended, Northwestern and South Pointe, let's give a quick shout-out to our friends of the program.
Take your financial game to the next level with Founders Federal Credit Union. Reach your full potential. Relax. Join Founders today. Visit an office near you or relaxjoinfounders.com to apply. Federally insured by NCUA, member qualification required.
Come for the deals and stay for the quality with Folly Row. From polos to Q-zips to hats and more, their moisture-wicking, quick-drying, and anti-wrinkle apparel is the perfect blend of comfort and fashion for game day. FollyRow.com and at Folly Row on social media. Folly Row. Very good polos.
I headed down to District 3 Stadium on Friday night, one of the more historic, more well-known stadiums in the state, I feel like. They're the home of both the Northwestern Trojans and the Rock Hill Bearcats. Great spot as always. We had a heavyweight matchup. The Northwestern Trojans taking on the South Pointe Stallions with the region crown on the line on Friday. And it did not take Northwestern long to get started. First play from scrimmage, play action pass. Finley Polk finds Jalen Burris on an 80-yard touchdown, sticks the ball into the chest of Turbo Richard, pulls it out, has multiple guys wide open, kind of underthrew it a little bit, but I think it's more one of the things where you don't want to overthrow your wide open guy. Burris catches it, takes off to Pater. They go up 7-0, just 13 seconds into the ball game. South Pointe finds their composure. They come back, score later on in the first quarter. 2:38 left, a 42-yard field goal by Jacob Brookover. They cut it to 7-3. Northwestern, this is the theme of the night here. They answer right back. A 26-yard TD run by Finley Polk. The previous play had a 24-yard run, so he goes 50 yards in 2 plays there. The quarterback does. They go up 14-3 with a $1:30 left in the first quarter, and that is the score at the end of the first. They extend their lead early in the second, a 12-yard touchdown by Turbo Richard. He had about a 40-yarder the play before that run. That drive was all Richard there. They go up 21-3, 10-18 left. South Pointe answers, almost right away. A 74-yard touchdown by Mason Pickett-Hicks to make it 21-10, 9:59 left. That was a much-needed TD there for the South Pointe Stallions, and they seem to find some new life from that. After that touchdown run there, they hold Northwestern to a 3-and-out, get the ball at the plus 46, cannot do anything with it. That may have been their best chance to get in this ball game because after they can't score, Turbo Richard scores again. 32 yards to the house. He bounces off would-be tacklers. 2 or 3 guys just can't bring him down. They go up 28-10, 5:54 left, and that's the score at halftime. The Trojans have a 28-10 lead over the South Pointe Stallions at half. And, I mean, it was still a ball game, but it didn't really feel like it. I was telling Jarrell and John when we talked, this weekend, I was like, it was 2 really highly ranked teams, two teams with some of the most better athletes across the state, and it felt like Northwestern was the better team by far. They just that when they got an early lead and it didn't feel like South Pointe had any answers for what they were doing, it was really Trojans early and often, and you could see that there. But getting into the second half, I will say South Pointe, they fought hard. They kept plugging away there. Excuse me. A 3-yard TD run by Aiden Turner right out of the break, and the Stallions cut it to 28-17, 7:16 left. But once again, Northwestern answers quickly. 19-yard touchdown from Finley Polk to Jalen Burris on 4th and 4, extends the lead. 2-point run is good. They go up 36-17. That may have been the play of the game there. South Pointe cuts it to 11. They have Northwestern at a 4th and 4. They go for it, and the Trojans get a touchdown there. That may have been the final nail. South Pointe, 48-yard touchdown by Aiden Turner, makes it 36-24, 2:14 left. Once again, Northwestern scores quickly. 57-yarder by Turbo Richard on the left sideline caps a 2-play score. They go up 43-24, 1:43 left in the third quarter. They pooch the kickoff. South Pointe fumbles. Northwestern gets it at the plus 36. Touchdown, first play after the turnover. 36-yard touchdown pass from Finley Polk to Jay Nichols. They go up 50-24, $1:35 left in the third quarter. South Pointe gets the ball back. Marshall scrambles, is hit, and fumbles. It's quarterback Malachi Marshall for South Pointe. Trojans, Jace Joseph falls on the plus 28. First play after that, they take a shot. Polk gets picked off by Zantoine Nelson in the end zone. Great play there. And that is the score at the end of the third quarter. Northwestern up 50-24. South Pointe gets on the board early in the fourth. A 29-yard touchdown pass from Malachi Marshall to Jordan Kirby. Northwestern once again scores again later on to kind of cap off the scoring here. A couple more for those guys. A 15-yarder from Greer Hopkins to C.J. Broughton. Go 57-31. And then an 85-yarder by Xylon Arnold puts a cap on this ball game, puts the Trojans up big, and they go on to win 64-31 over the Stallions and clinch the region title. Most points ever scored against South Pointe. I believe I saw, obviously South Pointe, a new-ish school, I guess, maybe 25 years or so. But still, a 60-plus on anybody is huge, especially against a team that has as many athletes as South Pointe does. Really impressive there for the Trojans. I tell you, super impressed, and I have been every time, I've thought about these guys and talked to them. We talked to Coach Paige Walford in the preseason about what he expected from his team, and you could tell that, such a well-run squad. I mean, he just very, tight-knit, very well-ran, very professional. You could feel that on Friday night over, at the ball game as well, where they didn't have a lot of penalties. South Pointe had some here and there that kind of hurt them. Northwestern stayed pretty much under control the whole game, even though it's a big, rivalry game. Didn't seem to get too amped up, kind of stayed even keel, and so many playmakers for those guys, Nichols and Burris and Polk and Turbo Richard. I can keep saying maybe the best player in the state. He is special. He's a really, really good running back there. But Northwestern, they made me feel even better about my thought that they may be the best team in the state. I think they're that good. They are very, very impressive. We're very, very impressive on Friday night. Had a chance to catch up with Coach Paige Walford at the ball game. I'll put that interview in here in just a second, and then we'll kind of recap that one. But here is Northwestern head coach Paige Walford after his Trojans' big win over South Pointe on Friday night.
Head coach Paige Walford, Northwestern Trojans 64-31 over South Pointe tonight. Coach, how satisfying is it to clinch the region title in a dominating fashion here tonight at home?
It felt good, but we honestly didn't play very well. We got mistakes we got to correct. We can't turn the ball over like we did. We had a blown assignment on the run, the long touchdown run, and then we missed an assignment there blew a coverage there on an out and up that we thought we had covered pretty good. So it feels good to win the championship. I probably downplay it too much because the standard Northwestern is state championships. So we don't have region championship football trophies, and I should probably appreciate that a little more than I do, because a lot of people grow up without ever winning the championship. So to win it in the fashion we did tonight and to keep winning the way we are is a great thing. But I think it comes down to the standard we have at Northwestern High School, the standard of play we try to play at, and the excellence we try to get out of our kids. And I'm proud of the kids, and they did a great job.
Coach, every time South Pointe scored or posed any kind of threat, you guys answered and quickly too. How important was that to kind of end any momentum they had each time?
Yeah, that's just we were fortunate to do that. The guys on the sideline with me, Coach Hunt, Coach Cantrell, and then up top Coach Kirk, and on the field also Coach Bollinger. But up top, Coach Kirk and Coach Sugars, we communicated so well that it was like we were taking turns, calling plays that we thought were going to work. And I can't take all the credit for that, because those guys probably call as many touchdowns as anybody else, including me. So, the kids are executing the play. The kids believe in what we're doing. And with the backing of the coaching staff there and our offense line like we're doing, if teams score, then we don't get down. We just get the ball back and try to put another one on the board.
Coach, Trevor Richard, one of the better players in the state, if not the best player in the state. How special is he, and what does he mean to your Trojans program?
I can't say enough about him. I mean, he makes runs, and I'm shaking my head. And he's been doing it for 3 years. As a sophomore, he was making good runs and kind of not scoring on the long ones. Last year he was scoring on the long ones. This year he's breaking tackles and scoring on the long ones. So, Boston College is getting one heck of a football player, and that's what he is. He's a football player. It's what he's always wanted to do. He came to Northwestern to play wide receiver, but it didn't take long to figure out that we'd had to get him the ball a little more often than that. So, just happy he's a Trojan. Blessed to have him on the team, and thankful he's a good teammate. He doesn't get selfish, he doesn't get complacent, and he's always holding himself accountable. So that's all you can ask for.
Last one, Coach. You mentioned state title aspirations, of course. How pleased are you with the way your team's performing right now as you get into that ready to head into that playoff run? I
think we've got to. I'm happy that we're winning games, but I know that in order to get to where we want to go, we've got to make improvements, and we've got to fix things. We can't let the record and the wins and things like that cloud our vision as far as daily improvement. So as long as we can keep getting better and still chase that perfect game, I think we give ourselves a pretty good chance.
Head coach Paige Wolf, Northwestern Trojans, 64-31 over South Pointe tonight. Congrats, Coach.
Thank you.
That was head coach Paige Walford after Northwestern Trojans won 64-31 over the South Pointe Stallions on Friday night. As you can tell, and as you see in the interview, state title is the goal there. Obviously, they're happy to win a region title, but they want bigger and better trophies, and they are certainly on the right path for that. I'm going to give a shout out to a lot of folks there who were really nice to us. Coach Walford, Coach Hunt, got to see the AD, Caleb Gaither, talked to our friends from Founders Federal Credit Union, Chris Gordon, great to see him there. Scrocky Sports, Stephen was out there, a huge crowd. I mean, this is one of the biggest games in the state, one of the better rivalries in the state, brought out a lot of big-time people there, and it was a great ball game, a great atmosphere. Northwestern side was full. They do a great job supporting that program. South Pointe brought a good crowd as well. I do want to give a shout out to the turf that they have there at D3 Stadium. I know Coach Walford told us, I think, before the season, the preseason show, that it's the one they have at NFL stadiums, and it was nice. We've been in the stadiums all across South Carolina the last couple of years, and this is the best turf I've seen. It was super nice turf. They do a really good job there with that one. But that Northwestern team, man, they can throw it on you, they can run it on you. Everybody talks about the offense, but I love the defense. I mean, the defensive line especially really dominated up front. I felt like the back end, the secondary played a lot of one-on-one. They weren't scared. They played great as well. Perry and Gordon Miles, those guys really locked down South Pointe on the back end. That whole team is really a well-oiled machine. They're going to be a tough out for anyone in the playoffs, and I think they've got a really good shot to get to Orangeburg, if not win it all. Another thing about them I liked is that they play fast when they want to. On offense, a lot of times you saw them get a first. When they get that first down, they'd really hurry up to the line, snap a quick one again, kind of playing with the tempo. I really like what they were doing there on the offensive side of the ball. That was really neat to see there. And just like I mentioned on the defensive side, that defensive line was great. They are really good there on that side of the ball. For the South Pointe side, they've got athletes. We know they do. I think their key, if they want to make a deep run, they've got to stick with the run game. I know Marshall threw it a ton on Friday. Didn't have a lot of success either. Not all of it was on him. I feel like he didn't have a whole lot of open receivers really either. But I think if you got two guys like Pickett Hicks and Aiden Turner back in the backfield, hand it off to those guys 30, 40 times like you did against Lancaster, like you did against, York previously. Sorry, not York, but Indian Land previously. Do that and just keep doing that. Wear teams down because their defense is good enough. They got enough players on defense to make some plays and stop some teams, but they got to find a way to minimize the penalties, minimize the turnovers, and win ball games, because that's what it's going to take to make a deep run in the playoffs. But really like Northwestern. Once again, shout out to all those guys for having us out there. Really enjoyed it. Appreciate their time as always. But let's take a look now at our Games League, brought to you by Kona, Kona.care for more information. We'll start with a 3A matchup between Clinton and Chester. The Red Devils win this one 14-6. The defense played absolutely lights out for Coach Campbell and Coach Fountain and the guys down there. I think Chester didn't score until 5 minutes or so to go when Clinton had taken a 14-0 lead. They stopped them in the red zone multiple times, stopped them within the 10 a couple times. That Clinton defense, man, it's been good all year. It feels like, even with the injuries, they played well and kept in a lot of ball games, but they were lights out, a different level on Friday. huge win for those guys. Chester's a team that I haven't been super high on because just something felt like it was missing, especially offensively, and that kind of reared its head on Friday. They held the star running back Coleman to hardly any yards there, and Zay Johnson, a couple big plays for Clinton. Like he had a pick and a receiving touchdown. The Shrine Bowler, the Cincinnati commit, had a big game. And this Clinton team, man, with the way they run offense and just the way they attack on defense, they can make a deep run in the playoffs. And it was good to see them win this ball game because they've been, like we said, kind of injury bitten all year long. So big win there for Clinton. Hats off to Coach Fountain and the squad in that one. Another 3A battle here. Crestwood knocks off Camden 34-28. This game took quite a while, had a lightning delay in the fourth quarter, but lots of points all over the board. Obviously, Camden had a big game from Grayson White. JoJo Krim had a kickoff return for a touchdown that was a big play early on to get it tied before the half. And then John Mayrant had a nice game as well. But Crestwood, they could have easily folded up shop. They were down in this ball game, a few different times, really fought back and came back to win this ball game. And it was just a great performance by Coach Nelson there. He kind of had a ace in the hole, something in his back pocket all year long. Seneca Moore, who had 6 carries all season, ran it 9 times for 133 and 2 touchdowns on Friday night to win this ball game. A guy that he said, I think in the post-game interview, that they had practiced it all year long, but were kind of holding it until they needed it. And I guess they needed it on Friday. And huge game for Seneca Moore, huge game from Coach Nelson there. Big win for Crestwood, a team that we're really high on to win that region over Camden. I think he'd won it 4 straight years. Awesome to see, especially on the road at Zemp Stadium. I mean, that's a very, very impressive win there for the Knights. And they will be a big-time factor in the playoffs. Our next Colony game of the week, a real barn burner here. Somerville 42, Ashley Ridge 38. Somerville comes from behind by multiple scores in this ballgame to win. I think he had a 90-something yard drive at the end to win this one. Big game from Yannick Smith and Jaden Cummings. On the Ashley Ridge side, Derek Sally Jr., I think he had 14 catches, put up 100-plus yards. Big game for him. Trevor Khalid, of course, had a good game as well. Just could not get a stop when they needed it. 2 very formidable teams. This is the most tested that Somerville's been this year, and that they answered the call late when they had to. And that was a championship drive at the end of the game to win that one. But great win for Somerville there. And now they get the great gift of playing Fort D for the region title this week. And, you feel bad for Ashley Ridge because they've got one of the better teams in Lower State 5A, but they're going to be a 3 seed in that region. You hate that for Coach Tate and those guys, but they can certainly make some noise and win a couple ball games. I feel like a big win there for the Green Wave. And then our SCISA Colony game with Colin and Prep 28-9 over Buford Academy. Big game from Cole Davis, almost 200 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns on a torn ACL as well, including 3 in the second half. Big win there for the Warhawks over a Buford Academy team that's been playing some pretty good ball lately. Love to see that out of Colin and Prep. So once again, our Colony games of the week, we had Northwestern 64-31 over South Pointe, Clinton 14-6 over Chester, Crestwood 34-28 over Camden, Somerville 42-38 over Ashley Ridge, and then Colin and Prep 28-9 over Buford Academy. Looking now at our Pick'em games brought to you by Hannah Engineering. I appreciate those guys for sponsoring this all year long. It's been a lot of fun to do, and hope you guys have been a part of that. If you haven't, we're going to do one again for the playoffs, so feel free to check that out on our social media pages and get involved with that. Our first one here, Greenville and Greenwood. Greenville lays the hammer to the Eagles. They beat them 48-7. This game was 41-0 in the first half. I don't know what happened to Greenwood. We saw them 2 weeks ago against Westside. I thought they were a good football team. Did not look the part Friday night. And Greenville looked like who we thought they were going to be early in the year. Very dynamic on offense, played a great game. Mazio Bennett had a big game as well for Bryson Drummond and those guys. Greenville seems to be hitting their stride at the right time here heading into the playoffs. Our next one, Daniel at Pendleton. Daniel, 56-28 winners in this one to clinch the region title. Pendleton, though, I will say, put up more points than most folks do against Daniel. That offense with Luke Gray and those guys, they can throw it around. They can score a little bit. They got some good skill guys there, but just not enough for Daniel, of course. Jakari Bennett, big game for them. They're playing well as always. Daniel will be one of the favorites in Upper State 3A in this ball game. Another 3A matchup here in our pick'em matchups is Wren over Powdersville 42-39. The Golden Hurricanes, man, they run the ball and run the ball and run the ball some more. I think they threw it maybe like 4 times all game. Coach Freight Squad is getting it done. We talk about it every week how they play such a tough non-region schedule. Got kind of beat up early on. been kind of overlooked, but they played really good in the 3A ranks. I don't think they've lost a 3A game yet, I believe, in the state, even non-region with those as well. So playing great with Bagwell and Price there under first-year head coach Anthony Freight. Powdersville had a chance late, got down into plus territory, couldn't convert a fourth down. Coach Muster's squad will be a 3 seed and go on the road in the playoffs. But big win there for Coach Freight and Wren, 42-39 over the Patriots. Our next pick-em matchup by Hannah, we had Strom Thurmond and Silver Bluff. Strom Thurmond, too much firepower, 34-7 over the Bluff. The Rebels are playing great football. Braylon Staley, Quan Edmond, Chris Barnes, Jay Tolan. Just weapons over the field on offense. And defensively playing great as well. Silver Bluff still cannot figure out the offensive side of the ball. It feels like Coach Bryant's got to get that squared away before they go into the playoffs. But big win there for the Rebels. A 1A battle here. St. Joe's and Christchurch. Christchurch comes away the winner, 35-21. Huge game from Tucker Hendricks and Jackson Rep. The Knights really stacked the box to stop Deshaun Reeder, made Christchurch throw it, and they did. Like I said, big game from Rep and Hendricks to win that one. Will be a huge ball game between the Cavaliers and the Southside Christian Sabres this Friday. Another 1A game, Lamar and Lakeview, 15-12 for the Silver Foxes on the road to clinch the region title there. Congrats to Coach Burris and the boys. Region title in his first year there, playing really good football, especially once Zoe Pierce got back from injury. Silver Foxes are a threat in lower state 1A. That is all of our Hannah pick'em games, Hannah Junior pick'em games there. Once again, we've got Greenville taking down Greenwood, Daniel over Pendleton, Wren over Powdersville, Strom Thurmond over Silver Bluff, Christchurch over St. Joe's, Lamar over Lakeview, and then our Kona games the week as well that we mentioned earlier. Let's take a look now at the statewide scoreboard from week 9 in 5A. Rock Hill, big over Blythewood, 41-7. I thought the Bearcats win. Did not think it would be that big in this one. They've got a big matchup against Clover coming up this week in week 10. Bowling Springs finally gets their region win, gets their upset, 24-17 over Spartanburg. That Spartanburg offense has really let them down all year long. Defense is really good, just could not score enough points. Bowling Springs did this too without quarterback Lincoln Husky. He went out late in the game there, and they still held on to get a win for Coach Reel, causing all kinds of issues in the playoff picture there in Region 2 5A. A big win for those guys. Carolina Forest blanks Soxty 31-0. Clover blanks Fort Mill 48-0. Gaffney beats Dorman 29-14. Dutch Fork all over River Bluff 56-3. Fort Dorchester 28-14 over West Ashley. Lexington 48-18 over Aiken. Hillcrest blanks Malden 57-0 to take a lead in that series all time. Have never had a lead until this one. Now they lead that 60-plus game series by 1. It's a big game for Coach Swigert there. Offense looked great. Malden's had a tough year, of course, but big win for the Rams in a rivalry game. Nation Ford 49-0 over Spring Valley. Cane Bay blank Stall 34-0. Stratford gets a nice win over Berkeley 34-7. Sumter 42, St. James 14. TL Hanna 64-25 over Woodmont. Goose Creek 49-20 over Wando. Goose Creek, the Gators just do not lose region games. I don't know why I think they ever will. They continue to win in the region. I do not lose those ball games. On Thursday, White Knoll took down Chapin 20-14. Now into 4A. AC Flora big over Lugolf Elgin 44-3. North Augusta 49-15 over Airport. Berea gets a win over Pickens 28-25. Bluffton 21-6 over May River. Indian Land 28-7 over Catawba Ridge. Lucy Beckham blanks Colleton County 35-0. Eastside 36, Lawrence 34. Greenville, we mentioned that one earlier, beats Greenwood 48-7. Hartsville big over West Florence 55-19. The Red Foxes might be getting healthy at the right time for Coach Calabrese. We'll see what happens there in the next couple weeks. James Island 38-0 over Hilton Head Island. Lexington 48-18 over Aiken. Midland Valley 56-28 over South Aiken. This game was close at the half, and the Mustangs pull away late. Myrtle Beach blanks Wilson 51-0. Ridgeview 42 versus Northeast 21. On Thursday, South Florence 41, North Myrtle Beach 2. Greer 65, Wayhampton 7. Westside 63, Easley 35. Irmo 63-0 over Westwood. York 19-12 over Lancaster. In 3A, Aner 56, Georgetown 48. Beaufort 54-12 over North Charleston. Chapman 50-21 over Blue Ridge. Brooklyn Casey 49-0 over Swansea. Broome 55, Carolina 6. Crescent 42, West Oak 0. Dillon 38, Waccamaw 20. Palmetto 23, Fountain Inn 21. Gilbert 53, Dreer 6. Lake City 14, Marlboro County 8. Darlington 20, Lakewood 18. Big win on Thursday here. Loris blanks Manny 41-0, causing some issues now for that 2 seed in 3A. We'll see who gets that one in that region there. Orangeburg Wilkinson gets a win over Lower Richland 22-21. Hanahan, maybe the win of the week here. The Hawks beat Philip Simmons 37-34. The Iron Horses were undefeated coming into this ball game. I was really high on them. Jarrell was as well. I think John was as well. Hanahan, a team that kind of struggled some early in the year, put a full game together and looked really, really good. This game wasn't probably as close as the final score was there. The Hawks had a big lead and kind of let those guys get back into it, get an onside kick and whatnot. But hats off to Coach Turner and the Hawks there. Big win for those guys. Walhalla ends a long streak that you'll hear about here in a little bit. They beat Seneca 28-19. Belton Honeypath 44-0. Southside and Emerald gets their first win 49-35 over Union County. Looking now at 2A. Oceanside takes down Bishop England 47-7. Like I mentioned, if you have not seen our interview with Coach Chad Wilkes of the Oceanside Collegiate Land Sharks, check that out. It's on our Facebook and YouTube pages. Links on our Twitter page as well.
Sherrall beats Buford 25-7.
Abbeville 49-7 over Blacksburg. Central 55, Chesterfield 18. Newberry 47, Columbia 8. Fairfield Central 60, Eau Claire 0. Saluda 28, Fox Creek 10. On Thursday, IMG, they beat Gray Collegiate 55-7 down in Florida. Liberty 40, Landrum 33. Keenan 42, Mid Carolina 14. King Street 52, Mullen 0. 96-27, Chesney 20. They continue to win there for Coach Bennett. Andrew Jackson 42, North Central 14. Baseburg Leesville 35-0 over Pillion. Ridgeland Hardyville 36-22 over Edisto. And then a final that came through on Monday night. Barnwell beat Woodland 31-27. Big win for the Warhorses. Woodland's now dropped 2 in a row. This game was played on Friday. Had to call it, I think, in the fourth quarter. At halftime to do some lightning. Had to go back and finish it on Monday night. Down in the 1A ranks, Bamberg beats Allendale Fairfax 46-8. Whale Branch, big over Branchville 55-12. Christchurch 35, St. Joe's 21. I mentioned that one earlier there. Cross 52, Baptist Hill 0. Wagner Sally 36, Denmark Olar 28. East Clarendon 14, Carvers Bay 12. Hannah-Pamplico 26, Greasy Floyd's 9. Louisville 74-0 over Whitmire. I believe this may have been the most points scored by the Lions in a game. They are playing great football after 2 weeks off there. McBee, they win a forfeit over Great Falls 2-0. Calhoun County 55-6 over RSM. How about this one, guys? I got to stop here because Jarrell and I have had a lot of fun making fun of this squad. But Hemingway won a football game. The Tigers beat Scotch Branch 20-6. They had 8 points all year long going into this one. Hats off to Hemingway. Huge win for those guys. Southside Christian beats Ware Shoals 47-12. And Blackfield Hilda beats Williston Elko 50-14. And the Skeezer ranks. Big win here in 4A. Porter Gal beats Coral Newman 49-42. Hilton Head Christian 51-3 over John Paul. Williamsburg 55-7 over Thomas Sumter. Florence Christian 34-0 over First Baptist. And then maybe the most viral clip of the high school football weekend here. The PD Academy Golden Eagles defeat the Northwood Academy Chargers 31-30 on a free kick as time expired. One of those rules that rarely gets used. A lot of people probably don't even know about came to into play in this one, and we'll break that one down here for you. So PD jumps out to a 14-0 lead early in the game. Can't really build off of that. Northwood comes back, ties it up 14-all. They go up 16-14 on a safety in the second half. They get up, a couple different times. I think got up a couple scores there. PD fights back. They score with about, a minute-ish, a little bit under a minute left there. Decide to kick a kind of an onside pooch kick there. Northwood falls on it about, I think, their 40-yard line, somewhere around there, about 47 seconds left. PD has 2 timeouts left, so the game is all but over almost. Northwood kneels it on first down, kneels it on second down. The Golden Eagles take their timeouts there to stop the clock as much as they can. There was also a couple penalties here on both sides. Got some personal fouls there. Back, Northwood up about 15 yards already. On third down, they take a knee as well. Clock is running. They take a delay of game, which backs them up 5 more yards. During the discussion by the refs, because they're having to figure out how much time to put on the clock. They didn't stop the clock right and all that stuff. I think they put 8.3, 8.9 seconds on the clock, something like that. PD remembers that there's the free kick rule, where if you fair catch a punt, You can attempt a free kick from that spot with no rush from the other team. You can kick it off a tee. Just one of the rules that you rarely see used, usually at the end of a half, if at all. So Northwood, they've been backed up by the personal foul and backed up by the delay of game. They go to punt it. They punt it, high in the air, right to the PD returner, Colby Richardson. He waits for a fair catch. As he catches it, he's also hit by a Northwood defender, caught the ball in the 45, get kick catch interference, moves it up to the 30. So PD tells the refs they want to attempt a free kick field goal off to the fair catch, which is allowed. Miles Trussell steps up, just drills it. Unreal moment here. The clip is flying around Twitter and TikTok and Instagram. I've got a blog coming out later this week kind of explaining the whole rule and whatnot, but just crazy situation. Great awareness by PD Academy and, some of the coaches and guys there who remember that rule. I know some parents / assistant coaches helped out with that, but just great to have that happen. And, great awareness of the rule book and just knowing the rules, knowing you could do something like that. I was talking to folks who were at the game and, after they waived the fair catch, got the kick catch interference to move up to the 30, and they told the refs they wanted to attempt a free kick. That caused a lot of confusion because the refs had to figure out how to line up who, where, and all that mess. And I think the other coaching staff, Northwood, was not too excited about it and kind of complained some and whatnot. But after they got it sorted out, ball was placed on the 30-yard line, no rush at all. Miles Trussell steps up, like I said, drills it for the win. The Golden Eagles win 31-30 over Northwood. Just an unreal ball game that locks them into the playoffs for sure with that win there. Hats off to Coach King and the squad. They've had a tough year, but to get that win was very nice and one of the wildest ways to win a ball game that you will ever see. Some more skis and scores from Friday. King beats CCA 58-14. Kings Academy beats Cross Episcopal 40-6. Northwood Christian beats Palmetto Christian 60-20. Lawrence Manning beats Andre Prep 37-14. Richard Wynn gets a late tackle at the 2-yard line to clinch this one. They beat Wardlaw 38-30. Wilson Hall 47-28 over Heathwood Hall. Trinity Collegiate wins a forfeit over Hilton Head Prep. Lee Academy 42-14 over Carolina. Lawrence 32-20 over Newberry. Clarendon Hall 32-2 over Calhoun. Holly Hill 42-8 over Holy Trinity. Augusta Christian in overtime beats Ben Lippin 31-28. Jefferson Davis over Faith Christian 48-14. Dorchester 22-12 over St. John's. Greenwood Christian 41-16 over Spartanburg Christian. And then Pinewood Prep 56-20 over Thomas Hayward. That's our statewide scoreboard there. Let's give a quick shout out to our friends of the program before we move into the next segment.
Take your financial game to the next level with Founders Federal Credit Union. Reach your full potential. Relax. Join Founders today. Visit an office near you or relaxjoinfounders.com to apply. Federally insured by NCUA, member qualification required.
Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, KONA, offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville. Go to kona.care to learn more.
Come for the deals and stay for the quality with Folly Row. From polos to Q-zips to hats and more, their moisture-wicking, quick-drying, and anti-wrinkle apparel is the perfect blend of comfort and fashion for game day. FollyRow.com and at Folly Row on social media. Folly Row, very good polos.
Got some notes from week 9 I want to get out in the universe here. First one we've got, Walhalla. I mentioned this earlier. They snap a 33-game, 44-year losing streak to Seneca. Big win for Coach Stone's squad there. Hats off to those guys for that. Over at Hillcrest, friend of the program, Avery McFadden, becomes the all-time touchdowns scored and receiving yards leader at Hillcrest in that win over Malden. Hats off to Avery, one of our favorite players to watch the last few years. He is dynamic and a great ball player. Georgia State is getting a good one there. Camden, their loss to Crestwood was their first region loss in 4 years. Over at Daniel, Jakari Bennett becomes the first Lions running back over 1,000 yards since Jalen Oglesby. And then Eastside with their win. That gives them the first region win since 2019. Big win for the Eagles and Coach Woolcock over there. Looking now at our stock up, stock down. The stock up side, Somerville. Big win for the Green Wave. We mentioned they have not really been tested. They stood up and fought hard and came back with a big late drive to win that game. Hats off to Coach Rafferty there. Bluffton, rivalry win over May River. Really needed that. Good job there for those guys. Greenville putting the hammer down on Greenwood. That's the team that we thought they had. So that great to see that for Coach Porter's squad. Hartsville, like I said, maybe getting healthy at the right time. Big win there for the Red Foxes and Coach Calabrese's squad. Northwestern, man, they are really, really good. It's going to be tough for anyone to beat them. They are so balanced on offense, so many playmakers on defense as well. Really nice win over South Pointe. Clinton, a team that has had a lot of injury problems. They step up to the task, still win the region. Big win over Chester on Friday. Hanahan, the big winner of Philip Simmons, puts them in a position where they could possibly win the region now. Hats off to the Hawks. We mentioned Walhalla a minute ago. I mean, nothing else to be said. Big win for Coach Stone's squad there. Christchurch, big win over St. Joe's. Puts them in a great spot to play for the region title this week. Hadn't talked a lot about them lately because they haven't, their region's not very tough, but they play good football all year long. Big win for those guys. Porter Goud, a big win over Cardinal Newman. I think a lot of people thought that Cardinal Newman was probably the second best team in 4A behind Hammond. Porter Goud to get that win on the road, I believe, over those guys was really nice there. JJ Flood, a big game there for them. So hats off to the Cyclones. And then PD Academy, like I mentioned, not only, getting into the playoffs and locking that spot up, but just winning the game the way they did, man. Awesome to see that for those guys. And a memory they'll always have because you don't see a lot of games won on a walk-off free kick. So certainly really, really cool to see for the Golden Eagles. Looking now at stock down, only a couple this week. One of them is Spartanburg. That loss puts them into a big blender here at the playoffs. That gives 3 teams in Region 2-5A one region win. Going to get real confusing here with who's in what seed and whatnot as we wrap up the season this week. Our second one, Scotts Branch. How do you lose to Hemingway? I know they haven't had a great season either, but just to lose the Tigers, not a good look there. St. Joe's, I think they're a good football team, but now losing to Southside Christian and Christchurch bumps them down to a 3 seed. I can't remember how that bracket shakes. They may still get a home playoff game. I don't know, but not good there to be in that 3rd spot. And then Greenwood, a team that, like I said earlier, I was really impressed with, even in the loss to Westside, to just get the doors blown off by Greenville. Super surprising there. Did not see that coming, and stock down to those guys as well. Looking now at our players of the week, brought to you by the George Agency. Open enrollment starts 11/1, guys. Get on it if you don't have insurance through your business. Maybe you're a seasonal worker or a part-time worker. Check them out at thegeorgeagency.net. They can help you out with everything. Richard, Wayne, Bradley, and the crew there. It doesn't cost you anything to use them either. Like, there's no extra charge. They just get you the best insurance, and you pay whatever the insurance costs. It's not like you're paying them a fee. Don't worry about that. Or if you're a small business owner, they also help you out with some group stuff too. So check them out, thegeorgeagency.net. Another really tough week. Another group of outstanding performances all across the state. But our 3 players of the week. Let's start with Jackson Rep at Christchurch. 7 catches, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns in that big win. J.J. Flood at Porter Goud, one of the better backs in the state and in the low country especially. 37 carries, 225, 5 touchdowns. And then Avery McFadden at Hillcrest. 7 catches, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 rush, 1 yard, 1 touchdown, becoming the all-time leading touchdown scorer in Rams history and the all-time leading receiving yards leader in Rams history as well. So awesome to get that for Avery. Once again, our 3 players of the week: Jackson Rep at Christchurch, Michael Jaimez at Buford, and Avery McFadden at Hillcrest. Lots of great nominees that we'll run through here as well. Turbo Richard at Northwestern, 16 carries, $189, 3 touchdowns. Finley Polk at Northwestern, 246 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 46 rushing yards, and a touchdown. Brett Young at Clinton, leading that defense there, 10.5 tackles, 2 TFLs, 1 sack, 3 QB pressures. Trayvon Williamson at Gilbert, 24 rushes, 200 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown. Just a freshman, folks. Tucker Hendricks at Christchurch, 15 for 19, 323, 4 touchdowns there for him. Landon Sharp at White Knoll, 18 for 27, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, 81 rush yards as well. CJ Earl at White Knoll, 7 catches, $149, 2 touchdowns. Owen Bays at Bluffton, 189 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 70 rush yards. Brandon Bryant at Bluffton, 121 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Ian Grissom at Louisville, 11 for 13, 316 through the air, 5 touchdowns. Actually, they're 316 total yards, there. Drew Spires at Richard Wynn, all over the field as always. 3 catches, 77 yards, a touchdown. 5 rushes, 52 yards, 2 touchdowns, 14.5 tackles, including the game-clinching 4th down tackle at the 2-yard line to seal the game in region title. Michael Jaimez, 11 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 4 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and a block kick. Unreal stats from Michael Jaimez there at Buford. Trayvon Dunbar at Midland Valley. You know, I tell everybody, and obviously Drew, I don't know this, but we try not to pick the same guy twice for, you know, the overall winner. So probably why Trayvon didn't get it here, but huge game for him. 9 carries, 313, 4 touchdowns. That's right. 9 carries, 313, 4 touchdowns. Huge game for Trayvon. Reese Price at Wren, 31 rushes, $136, 4 touchdowns. Colton Bagwell at Wren, 25 for 199. Malik Clark at Rock Hill, 4 for 117 and a touchdown through the air there. And then Seneca Moore at Crestwood, 9 rushes, 133, 2 touchdowns, all while being a menace on the defense side of the ball as well. Once again, hats off to our 3 players week brought to you by the Georgia Agency, Jackson Rep at Christ Church, JJ Flood at Porter Gal, Avery McFadden at Hillcrest. Hats off to those guys. Appreciate you guys sending us these nominees. Continue to do so next week into the playoffs as well. Love you, these guys from Shine on the program. But let's get a quick shout out to our friends of the program before we hit the last few segments, including the upcoming Folly Row Question.
Take your financial game to the next level with Founders Federal Credit Union. Reach your full potential. Relax. Join Founders today. Visit an office near you or relaxjoinfounders.com to apply. Federally insured by NCUA, member qualification required.
The Georgia Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgiaagency.net. That's thegeorgiaagency.net.
Come for the deals and stay for the quality with Folly Row. From polos to Q-zips to hats and more, their moisture-wicking, quick-drying, and anti-wrinkle apparel is the perfect blend of comfort and fashion for game day. FollyRow.com and at Folly Row on social media. Folly Row. Very good polos.
For our Folly Row question this week, a little bit odd asking a question to myself, but here we go. So with the Mr. Football finalists coming out this week, I believe it's Wednesday, who do I want to see announced and who do I think will be announced? A lot of times, 2 different things. A lot of times I have not agreed with the winner necessarily, but a lot of great players across the state. A couple guys I think you've got to see in there, you know, Turbo Richard, Trayvon Dunbar, huge game, huge season in Midland Valley. Obviously, Turbo, what he's done, Northwestern this year and previous years as well. I'd like to see, you know, Yannick Smith, maybe a Derek Sally Jr. in there. Terrence Smith at South Aiken is a great ball player there as well. I'm high on Javion Martin at Crestwood, the quarterback. What he's done there is super miraculous as well. You never know what they're going to do with some of the linemen. You know, guys like Josiah Thompson, a Blake Franks, you know, guys like Cam Pringle. You know, how do you really grade them? Are we going to have an O-line winner? You know, we've had it before, but it's been several years. Don't know if those guys will make the cut or not, but a lot of great talent across the state. Just a few guys I like seeing there. You know, Braylon Staley as well is having a big year. Mazio Bennett had some injury issues, but he's had a great career in state as well. And a lot of pieces go into it. A lot of times it's, you know, are they getting the looks collegiately or they put up the stats? Is it a career award? So you'll see a little bit of everything here, I think, with these announcements on Wednesday. But, you know, shoot us a message on Twitter and Facebook about who you want to see announced, who you think should be Mr. Football. If you want to give us your group before they come out, after they come out, whatever, love to hear that from us. Just a few guys that I like and I would vote for there to make the nominations at least for South Carolina Mr. Football. But like I said, give us your thoughts as well. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc. We're Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS, website movinchains.com, podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. We do a weekly recap show, comes out on Sundays here, usually on Sundays on the podcast platforms. We do a weekly preview show about 7 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube live on Tuesday nights. A lot of fun there. I hope you guys tune in to be a packed week here in week 10. Definitely tune in on Tuesday for that, 7 o'clock, YouTube and Facebook Live for our weekly preview show. Our scoreboard show, our Friday Night Spaces on Twitter, comes out about 10:30, 11. We go live on Twitter, run through the scores. We have different players and commentators and coaches and fans hop in from all over the state, talk about their team. Hope you guys will join us for that. And a lot of great things. I mentioned the Chad Lepar interview with Gilbert, the Chad Wilkes interview. Oceanside's already out. Got a couple more lined up too with you guys. Hopefully y'all will join us for that here in the next week or so. But cannot wait for week 10. Tons of region titles on the line. It's been so hard to narrow down our games of the week, our pick'em games. There's just so many big ones for this week. But hope you guys will join us for our preview and recap show to break down week 10. But this has been our week 10 Folly Row recap show. I'm Kevin Thomas. Moving the Chains is always brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union, and we will catch you guys soon.